Dear Rentals Club members, I'm very happy to be joined now by Antonio Bortolotti. Antonio is the founder, creator of the VRWS, the Vacation Rental World Summit. It's one of the most respected and well-known conferences in our world of the vacation rental, short-term rental industry. This year is a bit different, of course. We'll be talking with Antonio what makes this edition specific, particular. We'll see why you should be attending. I think the roster of people speaking is really amazing. The quality is going to be very high, and we'll try to preview a few things for you. But without further ado, let's join Antonio from Italy. Antonio, hey, how are you?
Hi, Thibaut. Very good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure talking to you. And well, you've been a long time participant, attendee, speaker. You've done it all of the summit, so you know it inside out.
Yeah, I do, and that's why it's a pleasure. And we know each other, and I think it's the 7th edition. The first editions were actually online, and I remember being an attendee actually, right? Online. I was in my vacation rental far away on my little island. And it was like, wow, these people are smart. And I reached out to you, I think. Before that, or right after that, I'm like, I want to learn from you, Antonio. So you know you're also somebody I look up to when it comes to the industry. And I was lucky then to attend physically some of the conferences, because your conference at some point went from online to offline, and you hosted in several cities. Can you maybe share a bit about the the past 7th edition first, and let's talk then how different this one is.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You're right. And yeah, actually, we met probably a little more than 7 years ago. And as you said, when we started, we just went online because it was the thing to do at the time. And the first 2 editions were online. The success was so unexpected and amazing that we decided with the 3rd edition to go in person and brought the summit to a physical place, which was Barcelona in 2016 or 15, if I can remember. Then it was Florence the year after, then Como for 2 years in a row, last year and the year before. And this year was expected to be in Annecy, France, because basically the summit is held every year in a different country, because the scope, the aim is that to have an in-person event in a beautiful place you would go to regardless. So we're always very picky in picking the right destination, the right time of the year, right place and everything. So we decided this year to do it in a beautiful place. You're French, so you know Annecy, which is one of the most spectacular places in France. And then COVID happened. So what happened is that basically we had to rethink everything, and we just went the same way as everybody else, which for us was a little easier because going back to the roots. So 7 years later, 7 editions later, thousands of attendees from all over the world, we decided to, okay, go back to the roots and do the summit online again this year.
So that's very interesting, because as we just said, that's why I think it's important to hear. We could be talking about the content of this conference, but that's something you've done before. And I know it's as much because maybe if you are a Rental Scale-Up member, subscriber, you've seen that we've had our online conferences this year. And to be transparent, the person I said that I would be doing some online conferences, I think back in February, was it that we met up, was you, Antonio, and you said, "Ooh, it's very hard. Just be careful. It's very hard." And you give me good advice. I'm like, "Ooh, it's not going to be easy." So what I'd love to talk about is about this conference, because I know that all the conferences you do are about quality. I mean, for example, in Como, it took place in a beautiful theater, beautiful gilded theater, amazing place. And you have this quality you bring to your events that make it worth attending, worth purchasing a ticket for. And the quality, I think, is first in the speakers, and the quality is also in behind the scenes. So, but let's talk first about the content. So what can you say about the content this year?
Well, as you said, content is key and quality is key. So the main difference between the Vacation Rental World Summit and other events is first and foremost in the format, which is single track. And to me, as I listen to my attendees as well, and I am a very picky and demanding user first, single track is the way to go in a conference, because quantity does not always equal quality and can even cause confusion, in my opinion. So when you are faced with conferences with dozens and dozens of sessions, it's too much, simply too much. And sometimes like concurring sessions spread people here or there, and people just get angry because they say, oh, this is interesting, this is also interesting, this is interesting, but they're running at the same time, and I can't split myself half to go here and there, which is something I hate and everybody hates. So that was the simple reason in the beginning we started. We've always kept single track, and it's always paid out to us. But when you're doing single track, it also means that you only have one take. There's only one session per time, which means you have to be very careful who you choose to speak, what the topic is going to be, and how impactful and important and useful is that going to be to the end user, which is our attendees, so hosts and property managers. So first and foremost, I'm lucky and happy to say that over time, we built the summit to the point where we have very high caliber speakers speaking on stage, and that speaks for itself, because it's basically nearly like a guarantee that who's walking on our stage, even virtual stage, is going to deliver content that's going to be useful to the audience. And we have this year, we have, I mean, you know the names, we have from the big OTAs, not all of them this year. We have one that is not going to take part, and I mean,
but feel free to drop names of the ones attending, because again, I think what's really interesting, you say you have this high caliber, and yeah, it's both and we have it's not just Europe. We happen to be Europeans, right? But there's a lot of Americans taking part of it. So whether you're an American property manager or European or Asian as well, because that's a very scale audience. There's good. So let's drop names now, because I'm very excited by these people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's speak data, for example. For data that we're going to, Pierre Bessery, co-founder of Transparent, and Tom Catton, the co-founder of Airdna. And basically each year we like to have them on board to start the summit with an overview of the general situation, past, current, and future, based on the data we have in the industry. And that gives a context for everyone to start thinking about where we were, where we stand, where we're going to be, and where we're going to go. Then we have the visionaries like Amy Hinote and Simon Lehman, who are very well known in the industry, very respected. They have their hands basically in everything that's going on in the industry, so they know the ins and outs of major companies or what's going on.
They're not afraid to talk. They're not afraid to voice their opinion, which is also very insightful and entertaining.
True, very true. They're not afraid to ask the uncomfortable questions. So we're going to have them. Then we have several industry leaders belonging to different companies. So they bring each one a different aspect of the spectrum, the entire spectrum of the industry. For example, Alex Nigg from Properly, who's been a long time, from first attendee to speaker for nearly every edition. Now more than ever, cleaning protocols are one of, in my opinion, the three key things that COVID brought to light these years for all property managers and hosts to focus on. And we're going to cover those at the summit. One is, of course, cleaning protocols. We've all spoken about cleaning protocols, so you may think, okay, we know about it. It's been 6 months we've been talking about it. But reality, we're going to check with him and a few other people different cleaning protocols adopted around the world, which ones are better than others, what guests really want, and what works and what doesn't work. So this is probably going to be very interesting to know, because you can adopt and adapt and adjust maybe your cleaning protocol to something that may work a little bit better. Then we have panel discussions with, again, Amy Hinote, then some top like high ranking of representatives of companies like Marriott, Booking.com, Vrbo, HomeAway, Expedia, and even one who may not be very well known by major people, who's the CEO of Traumferienwohnungen and actually also the COO of Oyo Vacation Homes.
Amazing.
And so it's going to be very interesting, even just like to hear their point of view on what's going on in that respect. And then we have Matt Landau. I just forgot, like the industry maven for all hosts and property managers, who's going to do a session himself on the cottage industry. So the future, what we've learned from COVID, and how even hosts can really, take advantage of the lessons learned for a new approaching industry, and for the near future, for the next season, what we can do. And again, Matt, together with a property manager, Terry White, who's probably like the guy that more than anyone in this industry has tested all property PMSs, softwares around there. So he knows a thing or two about PMSs, together with Wes Melton, who's a former property manager, the engineer behind Smoky Mountains property management company. So basically the three of them reviewed all PMSs, interviewed like hundreds of property managers, and basically brought down a list of the do's and don'ts, or the pros and cons of many PMSs, so that you can understand what fits your particular case better than other things. So this is another like in-depth sessions. It's quite interesting. And I'm just going through the list. And then we have, the VRTEC as well, the finals. We have the VRTEC finals, which are going to be, I don't know if you wanted to say anything about the VRTEC finals.
Yeah, so it's something I want to point out. We're going to talk about VRTEC, which is a startup competition taking place there. But just also going back to what you just said, for example, you said Matt Landau will be there. And of course, Matt Landau is really amazing because he can talk to different kind of audiences, which is what you're doing here, right? So as we can hear, it's not only for property managers, so for vacation rental owners who want to, go one level up and maybe grow their business, right? So that's also who you're talking to. And in that sense, right, Matt Landau can really help out if you're a vacation rental owner who wants to go one level up and start expanding. And you also have a property manager, I think like the CEO of Sykes, right, which is a very big property management company in the UK. And again, a person, I think, is Graham Donahue, and who's like, again, he talks his things, and he does a lot of direct bookings. He's got their own way. So it's very, very important. I think COVID was a big event for his company. So I think you really have, I think what I've seen in all the previous conferences, what I can feel for this one happening, you're really able to find the right people who know they can bring value, insight, and actionable things for this kind of audience of like people who take the business seriously, but who happen to be maybe have different sizes of businesses themselves. I think that's something to underline.
And there's something for everyone, because as you just mentioned right now, Graham, Sykes CEO, The nice thing about it, maybe we'll go through this in a moment, about the behind the scenes of preparing an online event like this, is that I have the privilege to have seen the presentations of nearly all speakers, not all of them yet delivered, so I have a few more to check. So with the speakers, I'm also doing rehearsals, I'm checking things out, and I can tell you that the content I've seen so far is spectacular. And I'm not saying it because I'm the host of it. One thinking I was doing, I was just elaborating on this last night with my wife, Christina, saying, wow, you can really tell technology has developed a lot over the last 7 years. Because when we started 7 years ago with the first online edition of the summit, it really was a work of art. We worked really hard. But if I bring it to today, and having seen the presentations that I received today, we are working together with the speakers to add special effects, transitions, and things that really make the content, which is already top notch, even a lot more engaging and fun to see, almost as if you're watching a movie, which is live, by the way. So you can ask questions live from home and have the speakers reply to your questions at the end of the session. So the first 30 minutes is pure content, and then we have 15 minutes of Q&A. So from home, the good thing is that you can interact with every speaker, ask your number one question, and then have the answer. But what I wanted to say is that Graham, he's basically going to talk about the experience of going through the pandemic for probably one of the largest, if not the largest, property manager in Europe. And while it may seem not so interesting for the regular guy, for the host, the reality to me that I have seen the presentation is that even for the small host with one property or 5 property, there are great lessons to learn, even just from Graham's charismatic way of explaining how they went through hell for the last 6 months as the biggest property managers, because it makes you think, it makes you learn to think outside the box and go beyond the limitations we all have when we stop at the surface and when we judge things from the first thing we see. Graham will make you open your eyes on how to think different when bad things happen, and don't stop at the first judgment, but try to adopt a different mindset, which in my opinion is the winning one, even for the regular guy, the small guy, the host, or the small property managers. If you want to scale, if you want to grow, you need to start thinking different. And Graham is going to show you how, so that you face problems from a different angles, and then you can tackle them way better.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. I'm like, I want to see that, because yeah, I mean, obviously, again, that's a testament to the quality we talked about, right? You see, you have the quality of speakers and the quality of preparation. Again, I've been fortunate to be an attendee to one of your previous conferences, and I know how you're one of the few in the industries and the few organizers that make attendees send a presentation early, and you actually review them. If it's not on par for what you want to deliver to your attendees, you're going to tell the speakers, no, sorry, can you just identify that? And you even do the work to improving with content, special effects, the presentation. That's to have something that's all through the show, consistent in quality. I think that's also something I wanted to I'm happy you shared, because it's some kind of work behind the scenes. It's not just like people say, oh, I got a 5 p.m. webcam show and I'm going to sit and talk. No, it's rehearsed, prepared, and that's that's where you always leave your event like, wow, that was quality. That was quality.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way to me. I'm a pain in the neck for know that. But in the end result, the quality that comes out of it is a win for everyone. Even though I'm a pain in the neck, in the end, the speakers thank me for being a pain in the neck, because the outcome come, the session I push them to deliver is so good, so entertaining, so valuable, that the viewers out there are raving about it. They love it. I'm happy. They're happy. Everyone's happy.
I agree.
So, and I can tell you again, I reviewed so far 70% of the sessions. Not all of them have come yet, and they're all outstanding. Each session is unique. They have a different angle, a different way of delivering the content. So it's going to be really engaging and really interesting.
And I remember whenever I go to your conferences, I take a lot of notes because it's really, really interesting. Even for somebody in the industry who should know a few things, I'm taking notes. Another thing I want to share, and where people can learn also new things, is from startup companies. So you're working with Vanessa, who's the founder of VRTEC, which is a startup vacation rental technology startup competition that's taking place throughout the year, during the year, and a final event has been taking place, I think, for the last few years at the conference. 4 years. So how is it going to be this year?
Yeah, it's going to be very, very cool there too. I really like the partnership with Vanessa, not only because Vanessa is a wonderful person, but the idea is fabulous and fantastic, helping out startups coming to our business and helping out us, hosts and property managers, taking advantage of the products these startups are introducing to deliver a better service. So this year we have 3 finalists who are pretty cool. And there's one who was already on stage last year, and he got second by like a minimal number of votes. He almost won. So he's really determined that he wants to win this year too, and we'll see if the public from home will vote him as the best or not. Then there's a new kid on the block, so to speak, a guy that's going to talk about domotics and things for the home, how to upsell certain services as hotels do, but for vacation rentals. That's quite interesting too. And then there's a guy who I'm quite happy that he made it there, because he started up as a property manager. He actually quit his job in 2016 when he came to the summit in Barcelona, and he told me, and after attending your event, I decided this is the way I want to go for, and I quit my job, and he became a property manager. So for me, it was quite rewarding because it was sort of like inspirational. He grew to the point that now he has his own startup introducing a product which I believe is going to be very useful for all of us. So I'm not going to say that what it is, because I want you to attend the finals and vote for your favorite finalists, but definitely I've seen the content there that they made, and it's quite amazing, all of them.
So it's great because, again, your event give the microphone or let people speak who are super well-known people who don't repeat themselves, prepare fresh content for this edition. And believe me, there's a lot of things happening in the industry right now, so a lot of things to say, but as well, newcomers, like these startup people who bring fresh perspective, fresh tools, and actually things you may think, hey, I want to have this kind of tools, maybe this very tool or something similar for my property to improve the guest experience or to improve the way we create trust for our property, our website. So it's quite exciting, quite exciting. So I think that's a pretty good testament to your event. We know one thing we didn't say is when is it taking place, and how can people even join?
That's true. In the end, you forget saying, okay, that was nice, ciao. Actually, it's true. It's taking place on the weekend of October 10 and 11, so in about like 2.5 weeks. And everyone can register by going to the vacationrentalworldsummit.com website. There are buttons there to register. There's the agenda. There's the speakers lineup. There's all the information you need to make a decision and attend. And for you guys, of course, we have rental scale up viewers, for your followers, we have you know, a little discount, so that at least you can get in for like a better rate than the regular one. Because
I know how you also
think,
always modest. It's a nice discount, not just a little discount. It is a nice discount. And thanks a lot for the members. I appreciate that, because again, it's not like a free webinar. You just sit, it happens, right? There's been so much preparation into it, so it's nice to have a discount on something of such value. I appreciate that. Thanks.
Exactly, and I'm glad you said that, because I'd like to spend a moment, just a moment, to make a point clear about the difference between free webinars and paid event. Of course, there's a barrier to entry. Yeah, this is a tricky one. There's a barrier to entry, and I've been thinking over the last few months, what should I do with the event? Because there's been an inflation of tons of free content, even quality content, valid content. So of course, the objection that people may say is, why should I pay to go to an event like this one, when online there's been so many webinars and other things all the time, with dozens of people, dozens of content. I don't need to watch the summit, and there's no reason for me to pay for it. Now, I respond to these objections by saying that, again, quality is worth the time, the effort for everyone there behind to put it in practice and put it together. And if you've seen the Vacation Rental World Summit somehow in the past, or you talk to someone who's attended, you'll know why it is different and why it's a guarantee that the information you'll get there, it's so valuable that is worth the investment, not the cost. Because that is another mindset shift that sometimes entrepreneurs need to do. We're asking here for like the equivalent of the one night or 2 nights cost at one of your properties. So if you think about that, would you be willing to invest the cost of 1 night for X times the return from the information that you'll get in these 2 days? That's something, you know, like 6 years ago, I hired an actor to build a little teaser for the edition, for the second edition, because of the first edition of the event, the Summit Online 7 years ago, was free. I don't deny, and it's not a problem for me to say that the first edition was free. We had to establish ourselves. We had to be known in the world. So we said, let's go free and see if it's good content, it's going to pay for it. But then when we do the transition to the paid event, I hired an actor who basically said in like 20 seconds, he said like, okay, I'm just going on holiday at your destination, and I've been looking for the right property where I want to spend my holiday, and I found your vacation rental. I love it. It's exactly what I'm looking for. Would you give it to me for free for 2 days? Okay, so I'm trying to make you think. Let's put yourself in the other shoes. What if a guest would write to you saying, oh no, your property where you worked so hard, where you cleaned it, it's so perfect and beautiful, it's exactly what I need and what I want. Would you give it to me for free? You would say, no way. So that's the same concept, why in a way the barrier to entry is also a guarantee that who's going to be in is going to be really committed to learn, to interact and engage.
And you said the word investment, which is very interesting, and let's touch upon 2 things. First, my testimonial is like, again, I think Alessandro Pacilio from Booking.com is going to present again this year. And I mean, clearly, for example, the last edition at Como that you had at your show, there's a lot of values on how to do and how to optimize your property, your settings, right? So clearly, that's an example of one edition you're working out. You're like, you know what, Monday morning with the teams, we had to change our settings to adapt to whatever he's saying, because that's a good way to optimize and make more bookings, make more money. That's already, we're talking about return on investment. But another one is like the investment, so that I guess we can attend the show, the online show in October 10 and 11. I was checking the dates to make sure I didn't get dates wrong. October 10 and 11. But the sessions don't disappear, right? It's an investment in the sense that people can still access to them, can't they?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as always, we also believe that there's no point in making you pay extra for the recordings. You've already invested into the event. So we are giving you all the recordings and all the materials for you to watch at leisure during the winter, or at your pace. So you can review sessions if you weren't able to attend, or if you weren't able to take notes while you were following. So there's really, I mean, the value of it, in my opinion, is way more than the investment is we ask, which is not much, because I can say it's 247 euros with a discount for rental scale up goes down to 197.
Nice.
So, what's the cost of a night at one of your properties? Just think about it. $60, $100, $150, 1 night, 2 nights, 3 nights. Would you be willing to invest it? Up to you. And again, I'm going for quality, not quantity. So I'm not in here to get thousands of attendees. Of course, if I get thousands of attendees, I'm happy for several reasons. But if I don't, it's still okay, because the barrier to entry means also that those going there are the most committed ones, the ones that are going to follow, are going to take notes, are going to ask questions, are going to engage. And in the end, it's going to be a win-win for everyone.
Well, it's very true, right? Because the quality of a summit, so sometimes the questions that attendees ask at the end of the session, you're like, oh, that's a good question. And the answer is like, So that's also, you're right. Yeah, if you have engaged attendees is also value of a show like this. So to close it off, once again, let's not get the dates wrong on my side. October 10th, 11th, of course, people can start purchasing tickets right now. Below the video or any article, I would, of course, put the links to the show with a discount code you give us. Once again, thanks a lot. Really appreciate that. And well, that's it for the moment. And what I can say, I think Rentals Club is the media sponsor for the show nowadays. So what you can count us on for viewers, that we'll be sharing maybe until the event is happening, a bit more previews or a bit more content and maybe details about some sessions to really tell you, what value you can get. So don't just believe our words, just see what's happening. So go to the website right now, the Vacation Rental World Summit website. Check out the speaker list, check out the agenda, and it's very well done, very engaging. You see the value you can get from that. So just go there, go there, and you'll see it's pretty obvious. Antonio, thank you so much for your time, for all the details, all the work you've done, and I wish you a great conference.
Thank you so much, Thibaut. Like I said, always a pleasure being your guest. And we're looking forward to it. It's going to be another great event this year too.